Why, hello there. You know, I didn't call you, but since you're here, I might as well just go ahead and tell you what I have planned. You see, I have been scrolling through my YouTube comments, and I have seen your cries. I have heard your pleas. They have said, Nick, you are a legend. Your video content is amazing. But, Nick, where is the wrestling content? Make more wrestling content, Nick. Bring back the talks of pro wrestling. Bring us back that content that we love so much, that of wrestling. Bring back the wrestling content. You all want wrestling content? Well, what a better way to start this new series off than by talking about my favorite wrestling company of all time back in the mid or early 2000s, TNA Wrestling, TNA Impact, one of my favorite wrestling companies of all time. And I cannot wait to talk about this series, about this wrestling company. I have many videos to talk about this company, from the likes of the rivalries, the match types, everything. Ladies and gentlemen, be ready for an impact, because that's what we've got. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another exciting episode of Talk Inside the Ring. Let's ring that bell, because I have once again another phenomenal, no, better yet, extreme, no, better. I'm gonna hit you with a total impact, total non-stop action wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what I can say enough about total non-stop action wrestling. From NWA TNA to just total non-stop action wrestling to TNA wrestling cross the line to Global Force Wrestling, total non-stop action has always had a special place in my heart, because in all honesty, total non-stop action was one of the wrestling companies, if not the wrestling company, that actually got my heart lit on fire even more for pro wrestling. Because, I mean, what can you say about TNA that's not already been said? I mean, first of all, you got the six-sided ring. I mean, freaking look at this thing. It is a six-sided ring. You know, wrestling's always done in a four-sided ring. That's what wrestling is known for. A four-sided ring. A four-sided ring. And like, you know, you're scrolling through the channels and I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? That's a six-sided ring. What the heck is this? That is what got me into TNA. And a friend of mine back home, Adam Stilner, my boy, he actually, because I remember I would go to FYE all the time. And he was like, oh, it's the Jeff Hardy DVD. I was like, what, Jeff Hardy, who's that? He's like, oh, this is Matt Hardy's brother. I was like, Matt Hardy has a brother, what? And he actually introduced me to total non-stop action. My very first ever introduction to Jeff Hardy, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, was with a match in TNA in 2006, I believe, against Scott Hall. Back when they were doing this gimmick known as the Kings of Pro Wrestling, where it was Jeff Jarrett, the King of the Mountain, to Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. They were doing this Elvis gimmick, you know, like where they were the Kings of Pro Wrestling. That was my introduction to TNA and Jeff Hardy, and I just became such a big fan of total non-stop action, because this just felt like this was a different brand, a different flavor of pro wrestling. This just felt like it was something different, new stars to discover, new moves to see, new types of matches to discover, and I was just like, I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, this is just so freaking awesome. Seeing a six-sided ring, and seeing their take on a steel cage match, a 6 sides of steel, to seeing how TNA was actually very innovative with their matches. I mean, shoot, TNA actually came up with a new idea for a match called the King of the Mountain match, where it's actually a reverse ladder match. This was kind of their version of Money in the Bank also, but at the same time not really, because they also had every single year at Final Resolution called Feast or Fired, and there was 4 briefcases. There was one for a World Heavyweight Championship, there was one for the Tag Team Championship, for the X Division Championship, and a pink slip, which I thought that always was kind of weird, because, you know, every year someone's going to get fired. But TNA was like just trying to do something and be different. Shoot, I always thought it was so innovative how they would combine matches. And there's another match involving Jeff Hardy, but it was at Lockdown. Jeff Hardy was going up against Raven in a steel cage table match. And I was like, this is amazing. I thought that this was just so innovative and creative. And it just made me love pro wrestling more too. Going back to Turning Point and seeing Triple X go against AMW, which is the tag team of the Cowboy James Storm. Sorry about your dang luck. And the Wildcat Chris Harris going up against Triple X, which is a tag team of Skip Sheffield. Actually, no, that's not right. Going up against the tag team of Loki and somebody else, I can't remember his name. He did this sick move where he actually tiptoed on the top of the steel cage and did a freaking Hurricane Rana from the top and almost fell to his death. It was terrifying, but it was still awesome to see. TNA was trying to get themselves on the map to be the next big thing, to be an alternative to the WWE. And actually, TNA introduced me to other stars that I did not get to see when I was a kid because my parents would actually not let me watch wrestling. They didn't like it and they did not want me to watch it. So, you know, I never got to see Sting in his prime in WCW. I never got to see Kevin Nash in WCW or Scott Hall. I never got to see the likes of Kurt Angle back in the WWE. I never got to see any people from Ring of Honor, or Booker T, or Mick Foley, TNA, or even the instant classic himself, the first person to jump over from the WWE into TNA, Christian Cage, otherwise known as Christian in the WWE. Christian Cage was his Canadian wrestling name, but TNA was just my introduction to all the stuff that I had missed in the past. So I looked forward all the time to seeing Sting having a rivalry with Kurt Angle, which was one, in all honesty, their rivalries were always so good. To Sting going against AJ Styles, to Kurt Angle having his best rivalries with Samoa Joe, that the very first time they ever fought, Kurt Angle breaking his undefeated streak, to them having an epic rivalry, a 3 out of Falls match, or an Iron Man match, to their cage match pay-per-view at Lockdown 2008, to the invention of the Main Event Mafia, one of the best factions in wrestling history, I honestly believe, which consisted of world champions from WCW, Kurt Angle being the Godfather. Then you got Sting, you got Kevin Nash, you got Scott Steiner, you got all these people, and even a little bit of an introduction to ECW with Team 3D. You know, I was just introduced to all this old wrestling and in this new era, and I was just like, holy crap, I cannot believe I am watching a wrestling match with Sting back in WCW. I was just so enlightened. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And now I can actually go on the Impact Plus app and go back and watch these episodes, even go back to the past. As far as you can go back is about 2004. And you know, I was also introduced to the likes of, like I said, Samoa Joe, the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, to James Storm, to Chris Harris, to the phenomenal AJ Styles, who would actually end up becoming a Grand Slam champion in Impact Wrestling, to, like I said, I got introduced and watched matches involving Booker T, to Scott Steiner. I got introduced to the X Division, which is actually what made the six-sided ring and TNA so phenomenal, was the X Division, where you had people like Samoa Joe being an X Division champion, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, Petey Williams, Jay Lethal, who actually just debuted in AEW, and it was actually a big motivator in Ring of Honor. All these guys, I got to witness them in TNA, and I cannot wait to continue talking about Impact Wrestling. I'm going to be making a lot more Impact Wrestling videos. I'm going to be talking about some of the greatest rivalries that I enjoyed along the past, some of their greatest match stipulations, their ideas. I honestly just cannot wait to just talk about Impact Wrestling. Guys, let me know in the comments below if you ever watched Impact Wrestling. What was your favorite year? When did you ever start watching Impact Wrestling? I really want to know. Don't forget to elbow drop that like button. Don't forget to pinfall the subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get some comments on this. Share this video to your friends. Share this video to anybody who enjoys wrestling and who has not ever heard of Impact Wrestling. They should if they watch AEW. They know about Impact Wrestling. But what about in its glory days with the six-sided ring and the X Division and the King of the Mountain match and just so much innovation in pro wrestling? Ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, and I hope that you have a happy holidays. Have a good day, guys.